Now the biggest downfall of the outgoing Kona was the small back seat, the lack of legroom. Do we have an improvement here? Well, the new Kona is bigger. And look at this. This seat is set up for me at 6'1". They've made this seat and the front seats here quite a bit smaller. I have a lot of legroom. My knees have so much air. And check it out. We have USBs back here. We have vents on this N-line model. What's the headroom like? Not a problem. Even at 6'1", it is absolutely super comfortable back here. So they've already taken care of its biggest downfall with the first generation. So what we have is the N-Line. There are 4 different trim levels here. Today I'm giving you guys a full driving impressions of the N-Line. So there's the SE, SEL, there's this N-Line, and then there's the top of the line Limited. So the new Kona has got bigger, a little bit wider, it's longer, and that's why we have so much more leg space back there. I want to go to the front here because this might look familiar. If you guys saw the refresh of the new Sonata, it has that kind of light bar in the front. I love this aluminum badge here for the Hyundai logo that's kind of stamped and pressed into the hood. Is very, very clean looking. We have these air dams that come down to help make this vehicle a little bit more aerodynamic at speed. Since we're just stopping and idling, letting the AC run right now, these vents are open. So this N-Line is a sportier model. We have the little badge right here. And like the old Kona, we have the headlights kind of pushed out all the way to this side. We have traditional incandescent bulbs here for the turn indicators, but the rest of the lights, LED, very premium looking, very aggressive here from the front. As I come to the side, we have the blacked out mirrors, blacked out roof rails, huge 19-inch wheels here. You can get 17s, 18s, or 19s depending on the grade. This one and the Limited come with the largest 19-inch wheels. The N-Line has the paint matched wheel arches, which I think makes this vehicle look a little bit more premium this time around compared to like this guy right over here. I mean, I know it's gray, but that doesn't have the paint matched wheel arches. It doesn't look bad. I just think it looks a little bit classier here, having it all one color. As we come around to the back, like the front headlights, the rear tail lights are pushed out to the side here. And then we have a light bar that goes all the way across to mimic and continue that theme that we have on the front headlights. Again, the Hyundai badge flat pressed against the sheet metal here. Kona typed out nice and large. H-Track all-wheel drive. H-Track is available on all powertrains. There's 2 powertrains. We'll talk more about that when I pop the hood. N-Line only comes with this 1.6 turbo with 190 horsepower. Cool dual exhaust design as well back here. Now we also have this additional brake light up at the top, which is really, really small and compact compared to the wide line up here. It's right in the middle of these really aggressive winglets here on the lift back. Absolutely eye-catching. I'll see you guys down below what you think about that very aggressive deck lid spoiler. Lifting this up, you can get an automated lift gate on the top model, the Limited model, but it is very light, easy to pull down. I like how Hyundai incorporated a handle right here. More cargo space than ever before. This is adjustable. You can actually tuck it away down here. So there's a lot of different ways you can mix and match that tonneau cover. Spare tire here at the bottom. If you're wondering how much this has cost, $33,695 for the H-Track Kona N-Line. All right, so let's go ahead and close this down. Lifting up the hood, check this out. We don't have a prop stick. We have true shocks to lift this up, one on each side. I love that feature. That's definitely a premium-like feature, and you'll find out when I drive this thing, there's a lot of premium-like features, and that's why the price has gone up, because this vehicle is bigger, better, and definitely more luxurious in every way. So what we have here is the 1.6 liter turbo 4-cylinder, has 190 horsepower, 195 pound-feet of torque. We have an 8-speed automatic gearbox that's replacing the old 7-speed DCT. The base models have a 2-liter inline 4-cylinder, naturally aspirated with around 147 horsepower. That has a CVT. If you want to see what that powertrain is like to drive, check out my recent Kia Soul video. I was really, really impressed with that 2-liter, despite it being so conservative on paper with just 147 horsepower. So make sure to check that out. I don't have that powertrain here at this Media Drive, just this turbo all-wheel drive setup. The N-Line has this Alcantara suede with this leatherette on the outside, the end here. Very comfortable seats, I must say. After driving this vehicle, I could sit in it all day. And I like how we have this Alcantara badge. You like that? That's a nice little detail. Checker line door sill, and then the Kona N-Line has its own badge. We have aluminum pedals. The door panels, hard touch up here, but it's soft touch around the handle, soft touch here on the armrest. Pretty basic around the window controls here. Getting on the inside, check this technology out. Brand new 12-inch screen here. Brand new 12-inch screen here. This is standard. You'll get a smaller screen on the entry-level models, but the Inline and the SEL Convenience, as well as the Limited, get a double 12-inch screen. And it is kind of wrapped around. So this screen is actually facing me a little bit more. It's more driver-centric. It's incredible. This steering wheel, leather wrapped, feels great in the hands. The stitching's pretty darn good overall. We also have the Inline badge here. No Hyundai logo here. Again, it's that Morse code, 4 dots for H. Paddle shifters here on the back to row through the 8-speed auto. Now, this Inline has this red strip that goes across. I like it because it breaks up what otherwise would be just a dark gray or dark black just smattering. Now we do have the Bose sound system here on the Inline, and that's why this has like a cloth over it for the Bose sound system. Hard touch dash, nice little shelf for additional maybe water bottles or whatever objects you want to store there. Glove box, pretty standard. Lifting this up, there's a little tray here which is removable, and check this out, guys. This whole area, since the drive shift is right here like the Ioniq 5, all this area is customizable. You can take out all this stuff. You can move the cup holders around. Like, I love having all this space, and customizing and partitioning it is a nice feature too. So we do have drive modes here, just a few, normal, sport, and snow, but we're gonna get it back in normal. We have a rear camera. We don't have 360 camera, but this is pretty high quality here. 360 camera is in the Limited, as well as ventilated seats are in the Limited, and heated steering wheel is in the Limited too. Here in this Inline, we just have the heated seats. Now, gone are the USB-A's, and you might be asking, Kirk, what about Android Auto or Apple CarPlay? Well, Hyundai is upgrading the system over the air after launch. They said it's going to be happening soon to give this vehicle wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto. The base SE and SEL already have wireless Android and Auto and Apple CarPlay, but the ones equipped with navigation, for example, if I go to map, since this model has navigation, it doesn't have Android Auto or Apple CarPlay wireless from the factory, but it is coming an over-the-air update, so rest assured. All right, let's move on from there. Huge volume knob to get to right off the steering wheel. Love the placement of it. Simple, tactile, fan control, climate control. Love all the physical buttons Hyundai's baked in here. Guess what? I don't see any glossy black plastic, no piano black, maybe around the drive mode, but that's it. I love this kind of doled out, and it's not like a cheap plastic. It kind of has a little sparkle to it when the sun hits it, but it's very muted and just very pleasant. Like, my eyes are never drawn to or distracted. Now, there's a little bit of ambient lighting around the volume knob and the tuning knob, but the Limited is the only one that has true ambient lighting. All right, let's move our way down. We have an optional USB charger or USB data port here, and you just toggle out with the press of the button. Pretty neat. You also have this wireless charger, 12 volt 180. Look at that. That is spring loaded. One of the best surprises of the day for me. I could do that over. No, I don't want to do it because I don't want to break it, but that is very satisfying. I already covered everything else up here, so I guess I'll go over the sunroof. Yes, we have a sunroof in this model, no panel roof across the lineup, but I believe this is the Inline and the Limited have this big old roof. Visibility out the back's quite good. I like the really slim bezel here, but I don't have garage door openers, I don't believe, anywhere here. What about the vanity mirror? Well, it's actually massive, to be honest, and I have this little light up top, looks like LED light up top, to illuminate your pretty face when you're putting on the makeup. All right, Matt, we're gonna do a little 0 to 60 in the Kona 1.6 turbo. What is your estimation for 0 to 60 in this bad boy?
I'm hoping for something under 10. I guess we'll see.
Sub 10. Okay. Is the below or under 9 seconds, or like above or below 9 seconds? Do you think?
Maybe under 9.
I'm gonna take a shot and say that it does 8.5.
Okay.
Yep. I think you might be right above 9. There's 60. Oh, hey-o. You want to read that for us, Matt?
Looks like it's 0 to 60 in 8.68 seconds. So you were right.
Yeah.
You're so close. Wow.
Yeah.
There you go.
And 0 to 100, just a tick over 9 seconds, right? 100 kilometers per hour.
Yep.
So there you have it. About an 8.5 second 0 to 60. It feels every bit of that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, the way you launched it definitely felt pretty nice and snappy with that.
Yeah, once the power band got in there, it really took off.
Yeah.
You know, if we could torque boost this thing to like 3,000 RPM, I think it would probably do low 8s.
Yeah.
But it won't do much over 2,000 RPM, you know, to save the internals and whatnot.
Right.
So there you go. Definitely snappy, Matt. But you know, last week I was a little bit spoiled because I had the Mazda CX-30, and that is like a lifted hot hatch sort of thing.
That turbo version's awesome.
Oh my gosh, that thing was quick. That did 0 to 60 in like 6.5. This is more of an 8.5 0 to 60 car. So now, Matt, do you think, you know, buyers who are looking for the Kona, do you think they're going to be looking for this turbo model? Or do you think they'll be looking for the 2-liter, get a little bit better fuel economy, and save a little bit of money as well?
Yeah, I think, you know, most buyers in this segment probably don't care about the extra power. You know, so you get a little bit better fuel economy with the base engine, as long as they're okay getting rid of all the upper features you get with the limiteds, you know, not having cooled seats, not having a heated steering wheel or ambient lighting, all those types of things. You know, if you're okay with those compromises, I think, you know, those lower models are going to be the bigger sellers, I'm sure.
Absolutely. No, I agree with you. And I think having that convenience package on the SEL is going to give you a lot what you have here in the inline, just not the power.
Right.
So, yeah, what is this vehicle like to drive? Well, it's not sporty, even though this is an inline. It's very calming. Matt and I have been talking about the whole ride up here, just how smooth and quiet this is. What vehicle comes to mind that you've driven maybe recently, or maybe in this class that you could compare it to in terms of NVH and smoothness? I
mean, to me, it's right up there with the best. I'd say this is comparable from my memory to the CX-30. I mean, you can weigh in since you had more recent experience there, but I mean, and CX-30 prides itself on being the luxury, quiet kind of one. I mean, with all the work they did with this to quiet the engine, quiet the exhaust, give you better NVH as far as, you know, road and tire noise and all that. I mean, I would say this is like tied for best in segment as far as quietness. Yeah,
I would say so as well. I would say the ride quality is a bit better in here compared to the CX-30, largely because we don't have a torsion beam in the back in the all-wheel drive models of the Kona.
Right.
Like, this thing handles the bumps really, really well, even with these huge 19-inch wheels. Like, it's impressive, and it is surprisingly quiet. I remember the old Kona, we were just talking about how it's kind of like a tin can, rattly. Not
rough
here.
With the old dual clutch too.
Oh yeah,
this is so much smoother with that.
This 8-speed, you don't feel the shifts. Even in sport mode, like, it is very, very buttery and it's a bit premium feeling. And it needs to be for the prices, because it's gone up in price. Yes, it's gone bigger, and like we mentioned, all the improvements, but if you're going to be fetching a higher, or at least asking for a higher price, it's got to have the, you know, it's got to beat the competition with smoothness.
Right.
It's smoother than a Corolla Cross Hybrid, I would say.
Oh, definitely.
It's smoother than maybe the HRV. I mean, it's like you said, it's right at the top. It's impressive.
Yeah.
What's not impressive compared to maybe its competitors is fuel economy. You know, we were talking like in the turbo model, all-wheel drive, you're probably mid to upper 20s.
Right.
And, you know, the fuel economy's gone down on this model because it's essentially the same powertrains, but it's a bigger vehicle.
Yeah, and they said the torque converter hurts, you know, versus the dual clutch.
Because it's heavier, right? Yeah. But I feel like this is a more stout transmission. You and I would both take this over the DCT.
Yeah, I mean, if you sit in any kind of traffic whatsoever, you'll know that old DCT was not the best. This is going to be so much better, you know, for an actual daily driving kind of scenario.
But that's only if you get the turbo. If you get the 2-liter, you don't get the 8-speed.
Yeah.
But Matt, I was telling you that I drove the Kia Soul last week, and that's the same powertrain, the CVT with the 2-liter.
Right.
And that thing did 0 to 60 in 8.8, so just a hair slower than this turbo model.
Yeah.
I know this is a bigger, heavier vehicle, but I was still impressed with the zippiness on that smaller Soul. But that's a different price category. It's a little bit cheaper, kind of the lower 20s. It's going to be fetching mid to upper 20s and low 30s, essentially. So what do you think about them? I mean, Lexus doesn't even have this sort of dual 12-inch screen action. Like, what do you think about that?
I mean, that's just, you know, Hyundai continues to be one of the leaders in this segment as far as technology. They always have, and offering stuff that others don't. And now we have, supposedly, you know, coming later this year or sometime, you're going to have the wireless integration as well for CarPlay with an over-the-air update. So, I mean, with that, it's best-in-class tech. No one has screens this big.
Yeah.
And, you know, it's just impressive. That combined with, you know, the cooled seats and all these other things that you just can't get in any of the others, no matter how much you pay, means if you want the most tech and you want the most creature comforts, the Kona is going to definitely win out, I think.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, also the buttons that we have here, no, it's not the most aesthetically pleasing, but my God, is this functional.
Yes, at least you have buttons.
Oh, so many of them. You know, the last Hyundai drive we did together was Ioniq 6, and it had some buttons, but also was missing some key buttons as well. I think like maybe ventilated seats was missing.
Yeah, it was in the screen.
Yeah, I was just like, oh, come on. We have everything right at here at our fingertips, and the drive select over here on the steering column really frees up this area for more breathability and functional cargo space for the front passengers. So I'm a happy camper in here. It's a great design overall. We lost our navigation, but we'll find our way. The brakes, well, going downhill there, you definitely feel like this is a heavier vehicle, but it is smooth. It's pretty linear. And the acceleration, you know, you got to bury your foot for this 8-speed to want to keep it a lower gear. But it is not the most responsive. The DCT is definitely, the outgoing DCT is more responsive, but like we said, we'll take the smoothness that we have in this transmission, the stoutness of it, over the old DCT. All right, throwing it in the turns here.
That's a nice corner.
I feel like, yeah, that's a nice corner there. Then we can't go too fast because this guy's doing maybe trash on this side of the road. Yeah. Thanks, brother. But it does handle really well, and I feel like it handles better than most of the competitors in the segment. Maybe not quite as good as the HRV, but I remember this feeling a lot better and more composed in the turns compared to the Corolla Cross Hybrid.
How does it compare to the Crosstrek to you? You being a Subaru guy, or at least traditionally, I think I like how the Crosstrek feels in the turns a little bit better than this, maybe a little bit lower center of gravity. And for some reason, the Subarus feel really, really wide and planted. I'm not getting that same sort of stuck to the road feeling here. And the CX-30, at least the turbo model, just felt so nose heavy that this car feels more balanced, a little bit bigger, longer, and more, closer to that 50-50 weight distribution, which I'm sure it's not, but it doesn't feel like it's so bogged down in the front in comparison. So yeah, it's near the top in terms of handling, I would say, for its segment. Nice.
Now for the safety features, most of blind spot monitor is standard even on the base grades. Here we don't have 360 camera, but that is actually offered on the limited with the blind spot view monitor. I'm pretty impressed with the safety features. I know you have a different opinion on Hyundai's, autonomous, or at least assisted driving technology. This doesn't have the level 2 that you mentioned, or the second generation.
Yeah, it's HDA1.
Yeah, HDA1, which I like, and it's been pretty good for me in Florida. But I know for Matt's roads and Pennsylvania, it
does not hold lanes.
It's a fail burger, but. Yeah, just keep that in mind, that overall it's probably class competitive with the safety, if not. Well, that, it just triggered me there because it was like, what, a front collision warning?
Right.
So I'll put on the screen all the safety features that they baked into this thing. Also, there's new steering feedback. So it said, okay, well, there's someone in front of you, you might rear end them and the steering wheel vibrates. You don't feel a lot of vibration through the steering wheel, but you hear it, especially if the radio is not on.
Yeah. And it's also impressive that it has the rear cross traffic alert with collision avoidance. Like some others, with an option package, they'll have that rear cross traffic alert. It's definitely not standard on most of the others, but then to have the auto braking is really nice to have, and no one else even offers that. And that's standard, which is a huge thing.
Pushing the envelope there for sure.
Yeah.
Matt, are you gonna miss the USB-As?
I just gotta buy a few more cables, but aside from that, it seems like it makes sense. That's where everyone's going,
Right. Do you notice any absence of Hyundai logos here on the inside?
Yeah, they ditched it on the steering wheel there. It's interesting because I thought the dots was just gonna be an Ioniq thing.
Me too.
I don't know if they're just gonna eventually get rid of the Hyundai logo altogether.
Well, I think they know in America that it's not like the best logo of all time.
Yeah, well, they can do a restyle like Kia did. Hopefully better than the Kia
the KN brand. What's a KN?
Right.
Oh man, that's but I kind of like the simplicity here, but is this going to be recognizable?
It could be anything. That's the problem.
That's the problem.
It's not recognizable or unique or anything.
It is not. So I don't think they can replace the Hyundai logo with it on the outside of the car. The inside, it cleans it up.
Right.
But definitely stay tuned for our EV driving impressions to see what the new Kona EV is like with different battery packs. It's been revised. More range, I think, or should have more range than the previous model. And a lot more features on the Kona EV than the previous. I just wish, though, Hyundai offered a hybrid for this to compete with the Corolla Cross hybrid and then the ensuing HR-V hybrid. That's got to come in the next year or so.
Yeah.
And it looks like Hyundai has no intention of hybridizing this Kona anytime soon.
Yeah.
And we know Hyundai hybrids are really good. Matt,
really hot sellers.
Yeah, you've been saying in your area they're not on the lots. I would say in my area they're hard to find as well. So that, you know, and that was one of the questions the journalists were asking in the Q&A today at the presentations. Hey, where are the hybrids? But
I mean, we know they have that right in the parts bin in, you know, the Korean market and stuff. So it's probably not hard to introduce if they wanted to. And, you know, I guess we'll have to wait and see.
We'll have to wait and see. We can hold out hope because I think there'd be a big demand for a Kona hybrid. We know there's just not enough Corolla Cross hybrids out there to meet the market demand.
Right.
So. But other than that, like, it's really hard to say anything bad about the new Kona. Maybe like better fuel economy. Really, that's just what I'm wishing for. Other than that, like, it drives better, it's smoother, it's bigger. That was its biggest downfall. Like, Hyundai's going to do great here. Would have been great to keep the prices down, but everything gets more expensive with inflation and new technology and new safety features. That's just going to keep raising car prices. It's the inevitable. So it is still a good value, maybe a better value than ever for what you're getting in the package. And Hyundai's done a good job. And Matt, any final thoughts?
No, I think I'd just echo everything you said. It seems like it's really nice so far. I haven't driven it yet, but from riding along here, it seems like it's a really good package.
Cool. Make sure to check out Matt's channel. Do you want to do a plug real quick?
Sure, yeah. Matt Moran Motoring on YouTube and all the other socials. And it's been fun riding with you, Kurt.
Cool, yeah. Maybe, I mean, we did Ioniq 6 last time, so maybe we do Santa Fe next time or something.
Yeah, sounds good.
All right, man. Thanks.
Yeah, thanks.